Hello, and welcome once again to Lehto's Law. I'm Steve Lehto, attorney at law in the state of Michigan, where I've been practicing on it for 25 years in the fields of consumer protection and lemon law. I often write about this stuff at places like roadandtrack.com and have written a few books. Today we're going to talk about the Dodge Challenger SRT Demon contract. That sounds like fun, doesn't it? Well, it turns out if you want to buy a Dodge Challenger SRT Demon, you'll be asked to sign a contract, and it's an acknowledgment. And we'll talk about that because it's a little unusual. Usually when you buy a car, you simply buy sign a purchase agreement, you pay some money and you own a car. But the Dodge Challenger SRT Demon is going to be one of these limited edition cars, kind of like the Hellcat. It's got 840 horsepower. It's going to cost about $85,000 if you can get one at sticker, which plays into this as well. But it's such a crazy fast car that FCA is asking the people who do get lucky enough to buy one to sign an acknowledgment. And that's the key here. What is this thing and what does it do? So we have to thank our friends over at Jalopnik. Jason got his hands on a copy of this acknowledgement, and I suspect that more and more of these will be popping up elsewhere. But the 2018 Dodge Challenger SRT Demon Customer Acknowledgement Form is 2 pages long. It has 15 paragraphs. It was written by attorneys, I assure you, and it involves a lot of fine print, so I'll slap on my legal glasses here. And to get one of these vehicles, you must sign this acknowledgement. Now, this is important. It's not an actual contract. It's an acknowledgement, so it has a slightly different legal effect. But for instance, customers shall have full responsibility and shall assume all risks related to the use of the features and applications in the vehicle, and shall only use the features and applications when it is safe to do so. Failure to do so may result in an accident involving serious injury or death. Okay? And then there's an initial line. So on the video I can point out to you here, there's a little initial line next to each paragraph. And there are 15 paragraphs spread out over 2 pages, and then there's a signature line on the last page. But generally speaking, what most of the things on this form are things that are unusual about this car having to do with its performance, and pointing out to you that those things are unusual and if misused could be dangerous. So for instance, there may not be a passenger seat in your Dodge Challenger SRT Demon. You can order one with no passenger seat. And it says specifically that if your vehicle does not have a passenger seat from the factory, don't install one later. Because if you install one later, presumably it won't be installed as well as a factory installed seat, and plus there might not be an airbag. I don't know if there's going to be an airbag on that side. I don't know. And then, for instance, customers shall never use any track use, features, functions, equipment, or parts on public roads. Who would do that? Or any other prohibited area. The intended use of track use, features, functions, equipment, or parts is for race vehicles on racetracks. And they have you initial that as well. And then it talks about the drag tires. You can order the vehicle and get front drag tires, which are really skinny little front tires that do absolutely nothing on roadways, but on a drag strip where you don't need to steer, you don't need traction with your front tires that much. All you got to do is point it and floor it, They point out to you that those drag tires should not be used on the road, and they have you initial a thing that says that. And of course, people have pointed out one of the funniest things. Customers shall not move the vehicle. Don't even move it. In temperatures below 15 degrees with the drag tires. In temperatures below 15F, the drag tires can lose flexibility and may lead to cracking and other tire damage. And again, all of this stuff is just pointing out to you that yes, what you've got here is an unusual vehicle, and these things could be dangerous if misused, and by definition, you're misusing it if you use them on the street in an unsafe fashion, especially because the vehicle's got 840 horsepower, which, really, why do you need that in a street car? Well, whatever. So, and it talks all about these other things, and then on the back, the second page, there's a big section, the undersigned customer for themselves and their personal representatives and heirs and next of kin, anticipating that you could die, voluntarily acknowledges and agrees that he or she has read, fully understands, and voluntarily signs this customer acknowledgement and agrees that no oral representations, warranties, statements, or inducements apart from the foregoing have been made, blah, blah, blah. Goes on and on and on. And so people say, Steve, why would you have somebody sign these documents? Because isn't this stuff common sense? And isn't common sense really the law of the land? And of course, as we all know, no, it's not. So there's two laws here that come into play that this directly impacts. And one of them is the implied warranty of merchantability. And I've talked about this in different settings before on this show, but the implied warranty of merchantability is the concept that if you buy a product, the product will do what you expect of it, and you can count on that. So I go to Sears and I buy a refrigerator. I don't actually have to ask the salesperson, by the way, will this keep my food cold? Okay, that's the implied warranty of merchantability. I buy a lawnmower, it will cut my grass. I buy a hair dryer, it'll dry my hair. Okay, the old joke about you only had one job. When you buy a product that's only got one job, you can expect it to do that job. Well, with an automobile, the implied warranty of merchantability is the vehicle will be quote unquote safe and reliable transportation. So fast forward into the future where some knucklehead gets himself an 840 horsepower Dodge Challenger SRT Demon. He's at the Woodward Dream Cruise. He decides to light them up. He's got those little drag slicks in the front. Now, it's above 15 degrees, I guess, because it is the summertime. And somehow he loses control of the car, and he launches into the crowd, and he kills, 17 people. Heaven forbid. So a bunch of lawsuits get filed, and somebody's going to go, wait a second. That car was unsafe. It had drag tires on the front, 840 horsepower, and some knucklehead behind the steering wheel. I mean, isn't that just inherently unsafe? Because isn't a car supposed to be like safe and reliable transportation? That's what the implied warranty of merchantability says. Well, it's going to be kind of hard for anybody to say that when they say, well, yeah, but we had you sign an acknowledgement at the time you bought the car, and you acknowledged that it would be unsafe to do what you did, and you also, basically said you weren't going to do it. You recognized that would be unsafe, and you said that. So the acknowledgement is really a waiver. It's a waiver. It's going to be pulled out in court somewhere down the road. And the other thing, of course, is the express warranties. Now, I'm not talking about the glove box warranty where there's going to be a warranty booklet, I assume, in the glove box of these cars if they have glove boxes. I mean, who knows? Maybe they won't. Save on weight. But the glove box warranty says, we'll repair or replace items in the vehicle that are defective from the factory, blah, 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 certain time frame, mileage, and so on. But I'm talking about the express warranty that is whenever we demonstrate something for you and say, this is what this item will do, this product will do this, there's a warranty that the product will do that. So a lot of people look at television ads, magazine ads, and so on and say, well, in the depictions of the vehicle that the manufacturer put out there, they showed the vehicle doing certain things. And the best example I can give you is I've had people tell me before, they said, look, Steve, I bought a Jeep. I drove it off-road. Something happened. I took it to the Jeep dealer and I said, hey, you voided your warranty because you took it off-road. And they say, well, if you look at the Jeep literature, if you look at the Jeep ads, they show the vehicles being taken off-road. They show that. That's the ad on TV. It shows that. And I always say, yeah, but what you need to do is pause the ad or look at the bottom of the brochure, and it always says, professional driver, closed course, do not do this. And then if you read your warranty, it'll say there's certain things you can and cannot do. And they're going to say that the warranty overrides these images from advertisements, especially because there's little disclaimers in them. But in the case of the Dodge Challenger SRT Demon with 840 horsepower, they know that what sells this vehicle is the images on the internet of this thing smoking its tires, drifting around corners, launching down drag strips, and doing all kinds of race car things. Okay, that's what sells this car. This car would not sell as well if they never showed a picture of that and they simply put it on the showroom floor and said, hey, it looks pretty. Trust us, it's got 840 horsepower. So the ads are out there. And somebody could make the argument that those ads are part of some kind of warranty. And again, it's going to be really, really hard to make that argument once you've signed the acknowledgement stating that I'm aware that all of these things that I'm thinking about doing with this car are all dangerous and stupid, and I won't do them. So this is something that every lawyer out there wishes his client got the other side to sign long before the dirt hit the fan. I said dirt, okay? And so that's the primary thing here. So this is not really a contract. I've had people say you're signing this contract. It's not really a contract in that sense. In other words, if you drop the 85 grand plus the markup and buy yourself a Dodge Challenger SRT Demon with 840 horsepower, and you get in it one day and it's 14 degrees out, and you drive it down your driveway, an FCA official is not going to come by and say, "Excuse me, sir, I just saw you move your vehicle in 15 degree below, or below 15 degree weather. We are therefore going to seize your car because you violated the contract." That's not going to happen. This contract doesn't give FCA any particular rights if you breach it. What it does is it's something that they can hold up in court and say, Exhibit A, Your Honor, they signed a waiver saying that they recognize that what they're complaining about now was something so stupid that they shouldn't have done it, and they recognized that. And it was so important to us that we actually made them sign the contract before we sold them the car. And it was very clear they couldn't get the car unless they signed the contract. So it's going to be extremely difficult to make those kinds of arguments later, and that's the whole purpose of this contract. It's an acknowledgement. It's a waiver more so than a contract, but everyone knows, sounds like a contract. You sign it, I sign it, it's a contract. The other thing that this contract does, and this has been kind of missed by some people, but other people have caught it, is there is an acknowledgement at the very end that says the undersigned customer voluntarily acknowledges with respect to the vehicle's MSRP, the manufacturer's suggested retail price. And it says either, yes, I'm buying the car at MSRP or below, or no, I'm paying above. Okay, and as everyone knows, when these special model cars come out, there's a limited production run of them. There's only so many given to dealers. The allotment is small, and there's more people who want them than there are cars. So supply and demand always kicks in, and car dealerships famously mark up these cars. So it annoys Chrysler because of the fact that there are people out there who want these vehicles. They go into a dealership, go, I'd love to order one, and the dealer would say, well, you know something, how much you give me for it? And you say, well, I don't know, MSRP is 85 grand. And they say, well, we got 5 people who want them, and we've only got 2 cars coming. So tell you what, whoever the top 2 bidders are, they'll get them. And famously, there have been examples in the past where vehicles were marked up so much they didn't even sell. I can think of a great example. I think Buick put out a few years back with a limited edition, I think it was a GNX, where there were some dealerships who put such huge markups on them that nobody bought them. Some dealers sitting there going, well, doesn't anybody want my ultra rare car at a gouging price? Apparently not. Now, the dealers could easily sell these things for 100 grand all day long. So what FCA is doing is there's putting in here an acknowledgement, and they're telling you if the dealership will sell it to you at MSRP or below, don't count on that, they will actually ship that car first. And if you're paying the premium, the dealer markup that's above MSRP, they're going to put you to the back of the line. And it's kind of an unusual situation because they're punishing the buyer for the dealer's actions. But they know that some of what's going to happen is there's going to be some goodwill lost. Because when someone goes into a dealership and says, look, I want to buy one of these cars. I got 85 grand in cash right here. Boom. Drop it on your counter. I want one. And they go, no, we want, 150. Okay, we can get 150 all day long. I mean, I don't know if they can get that or not, but let's just say they could. And you say, okay, well, fine, I'll pay it because I have to. Okay? Well, you start going through the acknowledgement form for the Dodge Challenger SRT Demon, and number 15 has you sign the thing saying, no, the purchase price of this vehicle is not at or below MSRP, and I acknowledge this vehicle order does not qualify for priority scheduling. So that means that I'm going to get my car at the end of the line after other people have possibly gotten theirs. Now, I can tell you, because I can predict the future, what's going to happen here. And most dealers, if not all dealers, are going to look at that and go, oh, well, so what? Because none of the dealers are going to sell these at MSRP. Why would they? They can get a premium for it. So they tell their customers, you have a choice. You either buy it or you don't. And when you buy it, you might be at the end of the line. But guess what? Since all the dealers are doing this, everyone's at the end of the same line. So a line is relative to itself. So you can't say that everyone's at the end of the line and nobody gets these first cars. They got to ship them to somebody. I'm sure in the world of automobilia, there's probably one FCA dealer out there who's going to try to prove a point and actually sell one of these cars at his MSRP. And bless him when he does, but that's going to be unusual. The bulk of these cars are going to get sold at a markup, and the dealer's going to have the buyers sign this, acknowledging, yeah, I could be at the end of the line. But like I said, I don't think it's going to make a difference. But the key here is that it's what you're signing with the Dodge Challenger SRT Demon contract. If you're lucky enough to have $85,000 plus to spend on a vehicle with 840 horsepower, is an acknowledgment that's basically a gigantic waiver that'll be waved in your face. That's what waiver means. It'll be waved in your face in court, meaning that you can't sue them for what you just did with their car. So that's the ins and outs of the Dodge Challenger SRT Demon contract. I hope you enjoyed it. Questions or comments, as always, shoot them my way. Lehtoslaw.com, LEHTOSLAW.com. I'm on Twitter, at Steve Lehto, STEVELEHTO. And this show's on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Podbean, Google Play, and YouTube. Thanks for watching and listening. Bye-bye.